Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Aisyah Afina binti Amda. I will start presenting on the definition of idealism in international relations. So, the idealism stands for improving the cause of international relation by eliminating wars, hunger, inequality, and violence from international relations. Idealism approach that emphasizes international law, morality, and international organization rather than power alone as key influences on international relations. The word idealism signifies two terms from the word idea and ideal. It is referred to any view that emphasizes the central role of the ideal or the spiritual in the interpretation of experience. It is also support the ideology of idealism, which is called the idealist. It is because the idealist has its own contradiction due to the fact that it is contrary to the liberal internationalism. An idealist does not defend the natural harmony between states. He upholds that the international order should be managed by an international organization. For the example of international organization is UN. Idealists think that human nature is basically good. They see international system as one based on a community state that have the potential to work together to overcome the mutual problems. In addition, idealism is an approach in international relation from liberal thought and refers to the 19th century and the past World War I era. The most important key element of idealism in international relation in the view that man is inherently good, peaceful, and rational, where human reasons and process of learning renders progress possible. Idealism implies the study of man more and more, since man is equipped with stronger intellectual powers, has greater knowledge, and discrimination, and has produced through his own moral and spiritual actions.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurul Shafira binti Junaidi and I'm going to present about the founding father of theory idealism in international relations. As we know that the founding father of theory idealism in international relations is Woodrow Wilson. This theory of idealism in international relations is to maintain that a nation conduct states and language in international affairs should reflect its domestic political ideology. Woodrow Wilson is widely regarded as an early proponent of idealism theory and codifier both within and outside the United States, in which particular action highlighted include the famous of 40 points. President Woodrow Wilson's 40 points speech was given before a joint session on January 8, 1918, in which he detailed that his vision for a stable, long-lasting peace in Europe, Americans, and the rest of the world following the World War I. Wilson also predicted that foreign relations would become increasingly vital to American security and worldwide trade. He also campaigned for equal trading conditions, armaments reductions, and national sovereignty for Europe's fading empire's former colonies, in which the 14th speech included the open diplomacy without secret territories, economic free trade, the seas during war and peace, and equal trade conditions.
Next is the differences between realism and idealism in international relation approaches. Realism is strongly criticized idealism as nothing but utopianism that ignore the realities of human nature and politics. They think that it is both national and ethical to pursue rational self-interest. Realism is a school of thought in the field of international relation that emphasizes and competitive of and conflictual aspect of international relation. Realists think that it is both natural and ethical to pursue rational self-interest. The morality is important, however, it is in fact perspective in international relation affairs. We can only comprehend politics and manage the power struggle at the world level if we become pragmatic and work with forces of human nature. For idealism, it is strongly criticized and reject realist thesis that struggle for power is natural and cannot be eliminated. Idealists seek for international relation, peace and development. The realists were for rationalism, war and destruction. Idealism opposed the realist fatalistic outlook and argue that power politics is unnatural, aberrant and fleeting phase of history. This is because realists think that power struggle and violence may be avoided by international effort requiring the total to more standard in behavior. The realists accept its role and advocate its management. Realists place a greater emphasis on the present and argue for better understanding of all causes and dynamics that influence the fight over among states, especially national interest and power. Realism includes power management techniques such as balance and the application of technical ideal and moral. They believe that all national interests are compatible, may be made more so. So, power struggle can be maintained under control. That is way from conflict. If moral principle of power, collectively security, disarmament, diplomacy and so on are accepted. For example, when the Cold War ended, international politics underwent rapid change that pointed to a new era of limited competition between state and abundant opportunities for cooperation. This transformation prompted the emergence of optimistic version of world politics that discard realism as all thinking. Next is idealism. The idealists view power as undesirable aspect that can and should be abolished. Instead, they highlight the importance of morality as the foundation of all international interaction. Moreover, they emphasize the significance of morality as the foundation of all international dealings. The idealists believe that in need of transformation world society and believe that only universal approval can achieve its goal. For example, idealists highlight the value of international ethics such as League of Nations and United Nations in energizing and coordinating global public opinion. They argue that by doing so, it will be possible to eradicate brutal power from international affairs, replacing national armies and naive with study, reason and dialogue. In the realism, the realists strongly accept and advocate the complete primacy of power and incompatibility of interest in international relations. Realists believe that they are not as totally compatible and harmonious as idealists believe. The glorification of power struggle as shown by realism is improper. It can be seen in The Prince, 1532. Machiavelli stated that the major priority of leader is to enhance national security. To properly do this role, the leader must be alert and capable of dealing with both internal and external challenges to his reign. He must be both lion and fox. Power, the lion, and deception, the fox, are critical weapons for foreign policy. According to Machiavelli, ruler must follow the ethics of responsibility rather than the traditional religious morality that guides the common citizen. That is, they should be decent when possible, but they must also be ready to use violence when required to ensure the state's survival. In idealism context, the idealists are quite ignorant and superficial in so far as they ignore the role of power and accept the perfect compatibility of interest in international relations. Neither the two of approaches correctly represent the true nature of international reality, which is compatible and harmonious. One of the fundamental critiques for the idealists was that they underestimate significance of force in international politics while extracting the role, law, morality, and public opinion and potential. In the absence of centralized authority, idealism is an optimistic worldview that aims to overcome international anarchy and establish a more cosmopolitan and peaceful world order. For example, many idealists share Mazzini's belief nationalism and international are not entirely incompatible between nations. There is a natural division of labor, which nation has a unique mission to complete and unique contribution to offer humanity well-being.
Assalamualaikum. Now we move to the idealist approach. It is one of the approach that the traditional ways such as violence, use of force or inhumanity should be eliminated. It is because this way will not give a solution. It must be transformed into a new way, such as have a knowledge or have a cooperation with another state. For the idealists said that the education is a very important, especially for the leader. It is one the thing that will end the war. Also, to ensure the state have a peace, it must have the open diplomacy. Other than that, the idealist approach said that morality and a moral value is a very important. It will give the advantage in their development and give a benefit for them to eliminate, abolish war, inequality, despotism, tyranny, and violence, and also the fault. It shows that the idealist approach is one of the ideology or approach to solve the problem of nation towards of peace.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, I would like to present about ways of ensuring peace of idealists. First is to create an international organization. An international body function was to preserve a peaceful world and sort out any international conflict. An idealist thinks that in order to prevent war, people must establish an international organization that can ensure peace in all countries. International organizations can help to promote collaborative action by providing a political system in which nations can work together to achieve a common goal. But states are free to leave the organizations or even in some cases to ignore them, and the international organizations cannot do anything. For example, is the League of Nations that aims to promote international cooperation and to achieve peace and security was created on 1920. It is to prevent another war from ever erupting again. Established in 1945 after the end of the Second World War, United Nations was established as an example of an international governmental organization with universal membership. Only states can be members of the United Nations. Furthermore, another way to ensure peace is to establish an international law. It is a set of lawful rules and regulations that control the relationships between sovereign states and other lawful international actors such as the non-state actors. An idealist said that people can dedicate peace if they can come up with a law regulation that will apply to every country and imply some punishments if they do not follow these rules. International law is based on standards, treaties, and norms. Many of the treaties signed by United Nations create the basis of the law that governs the relations between nations. When a number of states have agreed and ratified the treaty, it enters into force and becomes binding on the member states. Under the United Nations, they have many international laws in order to ensure peace. International humanitarian law is an example that contains the principles and rules that regulate the means and methods of warfare, humanitarian protection of civilian, sick and wounded combatants, and prisoners of war. The Security Council has become increasingly involved in protecting civilians in armed conflict, promoting human rights, and protecting children in wars. Lastly, is to ensure the disarmament. Disarmament is when the military forces and weapons are being reduced or withdrawn. Disarmament is crucial to achieve a peaceful world and security as the main functions of the United Nations. It is to restrict the terrorists from acquiring weapons of mass destruction. Idealists think that it is important to reduce the dangers of war and conflict and to avoid the human and material resources waste. A lot of money is being spent on armaments, and through this way, the money can be used for economic development. For example, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT). It aims to avoid the expansion of nuclear weapons, to achieve nuclear disarmament goals, and to develop a cooperation by using nuclear energy in a safe way. Today, there are only 9 countries with nuclear weapons, same as 25 years ago, that shows the NPT's dedication and its contribution to international stability. In the last 50 years, the United States and the USSR Russia have made a big progress toward nuclear disarmament by reducing their nuclear weapons inventories to 19% from Cold War levels.
So for the issue of idealism in international relations, for the first point, international organization helps maintaining standards to ensure international safety, establishing norms regarding how countries make trade agreements and resolve conflicts. However, in international relations, it is needed to nations to cooperate with one another, pool resources, and share information as a way to face global issues that go beyond any particular country or region. Second point is to prevent war by binding in a rules-based international order. In international organization, it can provide smaller states an opportunity for stronger economic power, and this will indirectly help to build relationships with larger states in which some belief can prevent war between one another from happening. Third point, it is essential to an established international organization in order for states to cooperate. So here it means mutual relation and cooperation are very important for every country, because if there any dispute and problem arise, so it can be solved easily by making an agreement. For example, is United Nations. As we can see, United Nations was set up to preserve peace between states after the Second World War. So the main purpose of United Nations is to maintain international peace and security in the sense of prevent states from attacking each other and to organize countermeasures if this happens.
As a conclusion, idealism is important to the international relation between the nation happen in peaceful and harmony way without the need of the war to be happening. The idealism emphasizes the significance of ethics, literature, and religion. Idealism nowadays can be said to be a functional approach in studying international relations. For idealists, the principle of international relation must flow from the morality. Started from the philosopher Plato until the modern philosopher, which are George Berkeley and Immanuel Kant, they share the same idea to implement the safe world without war and make plans to ensure the war is not needed, and they promote the idealism idea, which are peace, no war. An idealist Woodrow Wilson created a statement principle that named 14 points in 1917. This statement is to promote the peace and harmony between the nation without the war happening. From here, there are many international organizations has been created to be in prevention the war from happening in the future, including UN and ASEAN. As we can see, the war are still happening around the world until these days. For example, the dispute between Palestine and Israel. Last but not least, many effort has been done in countries and organizations, especially international organizations, to settle up the dispute and prevent the war to be happen in the future based on the idealism theory in international relation, which is peace, no war. That's all from us. Thank you.